Okay, today we're going to work on the makeup effect, and we're using four different cultures of women to work on this makeup effect because each culture has a different skin tone. And when you work on different skin tones, the colors you use have a different reaction to the color of the skin. So I'm going to start on the first one here. So I click on it. It takes me to another tab, which allows me to download. So I clicked on the arrow download button here, and now it takes me here to where it was downloaded. And when you look at the download, it shows that it is in a folder, which is my downloads folder. So it is now the first thing that I downloaded in my downloads folder. Now we've gone through downloading. And now you guys get to choose which program that you want to use. And this is going to work the same, whether it's going to be in Photopea or in Photoshop. So I'm just going to launch Photopea by clicking on this tab here. And then say open from computer. Now each one you would have to open from computer. I'm going to go to my downloads folder, and it's going to then take me to that photo that I just download it. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to, you have two layers. So one is the actual makeup palette and the other is the photo, and you have it twice so that you can then see the difference of the before and afters. So first thing to do is to create a new layer, and this is where we're going to be applying the makeup. I'm going to use my eyedrop tool quite a bit on this one here. So this is my eyedrop tool to pick a color. So with your eyedrop tool, it allows you to then pick a color. So I just went over a color, and you'll see how it changes over there. So it changes the color when you go over it. So I'm going to change the color of the lips. Using my paintbrush tool. This is my paintbrush tool. And one of the tricks that I did go over, one of the hints on that page, is to use the bracket keys next to the P, which makes your brush bigger and smaller, depending on which bracket you choose. The bracket right next to the P will make your brush smaller. The bracket on the other side will make it larger. So what we're doing is we're painting the lips with the color. And there we go. So I know that does not look great, but now what we're going to do is we're going to add some effects. We're just going to change it from normal to multiply. And we're also going to change the opacity from 100% to anywhere we want. So it allows it to go there. Now I used a hard brush. I should have maybe used a soft brush. So to soften it up, I'm going to go to Filter, Blur, and Gaussian Blur. So it softens up the color and the edges. And there we go. Okay. And you can continue working with the hardness and softness of the color as well. And there we go. So we have a nice darker lip. Now we're going to add to the smoky eye. Using the eyedrop tool again, we're going to then select a color. But first we're going to create a new layer. And this layer will then add for the color over here. Now, one thing about makeup companies is they give you a clue as far as how they want you to use the makeup. So you can use it within the row or the column. So the column or the row. And we're going to use three colors right next to each other. So we're going to use the three colors on this row here. I'm going to select my first color by using my eyedrop tool. I want you guys to get used to using the eyedrop tool. It's going to pull in this purplish color. I'm going to change my brush from a hard brush to a soft brush. I'm going to make my brush bigger by using the P key over here. Next to the P key is the bracket, so I'm going to make a blue here for the inside of the eyes. Okay, so now that I've selected that, maybe make it a little bit smaller brush and add a line over. I'm going to, now that I've made my color marks, I'm going to now change it to multiply again and soften it. If I want to, I'm going to do another filter, blur, Gaussian blur to lighten it up. So there we go. I'm going to do that one more time again. I'm going to add another layer. Use my eyedrop tool to get to my next color. Use my paintbrush tool to now add the middle color. I'm going to give a little highlight over here as well on the lip with that color because I liked that color. And now I'm going to change that to multiply again and change the opacity as well. And also do another filter, blur, Gaussian blur to soften it up a bit. And there we go. Now I'm going to do it one more time again. Here we go. I'm going to add that third color. I'm going to click on the eyedrop tool, get that blue, click on my brush, come to the outside, change it to multiply again, bring that softness down, and filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and say okay. So this is how you do the makeup effect in Photoshop and Photopea. You can keep on messing with the opacities and the blending of each other, but it should look like it's blended into each other. And you can see the difference between the before and after. We're going to save the file. So we're going to save it as a PSD file. Save it to your Google Drive in your drive and a folder that you've designated. This is my graphic design projects when I'm doing all the demos. And now it's saved. And then you also need to file, export as a JPEG. And both of these things you guys can do in Photoshop and Photopea. They work exactly the same way. Thank you for following along on this makeup tutorial.